he said, who do you think's gonna win? And I said,
Of them being judged. She's not the Miss Universe anymore.
I wouldn't have won Miss Universe 2016. We want to talk about what we think is the factor, the it factor. Like we always say, an aura, Miss Universe vibe, but what is it that connects all these winners of Miss Universe?
Is it something that you can explain? Is it something you put your finger on? Or is it something, like you mentioned, that's like just a vibe or an aura or something that you can't really explain? It's just like, you know.
It just is.
See, you've been around it. Like
yes.
You,
and so have you.
I have, but you've been more around it.
In the last video or 2 videos ago, I said that Miss Mexico, Jimena Navarrete, Miss Universe 2010, as soon as she came out in her red dress, I was like, it's her. When I was at Miss Universe 2016, I had lunch and Miss France was at the table with me. So when you go to Miss Universe, obviously when you eat with 86 other people, you're at different tables all the time. So it had been at least a week and I hadn't really interacted with Iris, Miss France at the time, who went on to win Miss Universe. But when I had lunch with her, I was just like, I think she's the one. And like I was a competitor of her. So like it's interesting because you would think that, like, of course I still like wanted to win, had the confidence, whatever, but there wasn't anything I could put my finger on of what it was about her that I felt like that. I don't know if it was like her personality, her kindness, because she was very kind. I don't know what it was, or maybe it was the whole package. Maybe it was her look, her fashion, the way she spoke, her, like I said, her kindness, all of those kinds of things. She had the traditional Miss Universe worthy body that people said I didn't have at the time. I don't know what it was, but then a year later in 2017, when I was in Vegas watching the next Miss Universe happen, I got to interview some of the top contestants: Miss Canada, Lauren Howe, Miss Colombia, who ended up being first runner-up, Miss USA, Miss South Africa, who ended up winning. And in the moment that I was talking to Demi Lee, Miss South Africa at the time, I was like, she's going to win. She is the winner. It's going to be her. Again, hindsight is 2020.
Brand new Miss Universe. I feel amazing and I didn't win anything.
It's been a wonderful night.
Well, thanks to all of our contestants, all of our judges, and all of you fans at home. Good night, everybody.
But I said to my director, my old director of Miss Universe Canada, I saw him in the hallway like later that day or the next day, and he said, who do you think's gonna win? And I said, Miss South Africa, she's going to win. And he kept saying, she's too short, because she really is only like 5'3", 5'4".
We've talked about this in the past too.
We've talked about this. And she won. So what was it about her? Was it her aura? Was it her personality? Obviously she's beautiful, had a great body, because that's obviously still seems to be a factor, because there's never been a woman like bigger than a size 4 or 6 to win Miss Universe. I don't know what it was. And then 2018, Catriona Gray, we weren't there. In 2019, we were there, and at prelims, when Miss South Africa, Zosie Bini-Tunzi, came out in the gown, like what was it? What do you think?
It's hard. Like, we've had these conversations, you know, we've gone back and forth on like if there is this, like, do they all share that one trait? Do they have like that it factor? Like, yes. What is that factor?
I don't know.
So it's I don't know if it's just a lead up to like that moment, you know, that like you have these inclinations, you have these feelings towards that she has the ability to win Miss Universe. She could be Miss Universe, and then in that moment it just like all comes together where she looks like a Miss Universe, and then that's when all those feelings are validated and she becomes Miss Universe in that moment.
Right.
So I think that's too profound or too deep, but it's interesting. So I think that we experienced it together and then shared like the same feeling and the same emotion towards Miss South Africa.
Miss Universe is South Africa!
And it makes you wonder if other people in that exact moment felt the same way, or if it's just like how...
Because we were there, and then we went on to think, okay, well then after the pandemic, when it was Miss Mexico who won, we did not know, like we were very far off with our predictions, and we were like, was it because we weren't there? Like if we would have been at Miss Universe 2020, if we would have been there in person at prelims, would we have felt like Andrea, Miss Mexico, would have been the winner? So same thing with last year. Would we, if we were in person, had that same feeling of like, okay, it's going to be India? Because obviously India was on our radar, she was in our top 5s. Then I am thinking right now, and I don't want to forget to say this. Olivia Jordan, Miss USA 2015, she was in the top 5. She has been a judge quite a few times at Miss Universe and Miss USA, and I have heard her say when she's judging in the interviews at prelims, there is always someone who gives her goosebumps.
Whoa.
And they're giving her goosebumps with their presence.
Yeah. Whoa.
So she always says that that person
Yeah.
is the person that is gonna win. So again, do you have to be there sometimes?
Or is it just the one person, one country who doesn't make a mistake all week too?
True.
You know, because there are so many opportunities for them to mess up. This year is going to be 10 days of them being judged from the moment, even before the moment they step
The
up.
moment they leave their country.
We talked about the departure looks. The moment that they show up in New Orleans, the judgment begins, essentially, right? So it's, you gotta take 86 beautiful women from all around the world down to one Miss Universe. Is it the person who doesn't make a mistake all week, or is it the person that has this it factor, this aura, this vibe that we talk about?
Yeah.
Or is it just a combination of the two, you know? Like, is it, say hypothetically, that Miss USA looks like she's going to be the Miss Universe, and then comes the onstage question and answer, and she messes it up, all of a sudden
it's over.
She's not the Miss Universe anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like, all these things have to go right.
Yeah.
So is it the girl that fits into these like parameters, saying the right things, looking the right way, acting, having the correct like mannerisms, or is it somebody who has that it factor?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. And like it's so interesting because like I've been in the position, right, of like wanting to have all the things to be the next Miss Universe. And what's interesting is I always tell people, no matter what I would have done, if I would have had a different body, if I would have worn a different gown, I wouldn't have won Miss Universe 2016. Like, it was meant for Iris, Miss France, to win. I'm not saying that in like a bad way of like, oh, whatever, but like it is one woman's destiny to win, and that is what Paula Sugar always says. She always gives like a little spiel. She always says to all of the women who are there, she said it to me because I was a contestant there, it is one woman's destiny to win. And so maybe that is that aura. It's like someone's destiny, all the things come together, and you can work as hard, you want to work as hard as you can. What's that saying? It's like something about success is luck and hard work colliding or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So like you want to put yourself in the best position possible to win.
Something we've talked about too in the past about the pressure of representing a country at Miss Universe. Representing Canada is one thing. I don't want to like.
No, I know.
But like, you know what I mean? Like,
I had nothing to lose. No one expected anything of me. Canada hadn't placed since Alice Panikian placed in 2006.
Right.
So 10 years had gone by that Canada did not place.
No.
So no one expected anything of me. Surely there were people I think who were like, oh, like maybe, could she? But like I wasn't on people's predictions.
So you talk about these countries, these sash factor countries. It comes to mind like the Philippines,
Thailand, South Africa, Colombia.
Yeah, they're these countries that are powerhouses at Miss Universe, and it's interesting the pressure that's on them.
I know.
You know, like Celeste this year coming out of the Philippines, like she is representing the Philippines at the biggest pageant in the universe.
Right.
It's like the pressure of that too, like that's got to be a factor as well. I know we're kind of getting off topic of the video, but that's pretty standard. 71st edition of Miss Universe. Do all previous 70 winners, all title holders, share the same trait or characteristic? Confidence, obviously.
That's a factor.
Yeah.
Every woman who wins Miss Universe seems to have some level of confidence.
Whether it be like in your face or like quiet. But then it's a fine line of being like
I never think that's
overconfident, or like
but
then that's seen as cocky, which is like something that's
a whole other thing.
is not good. So it's a fine line. Speaking of all this, and it would only make sense, do you see any of the delegates this year possessing the aura, the vibe,
this unknown specific trait? Please let us know in the comments if there is something, because here is what I'm thinking of. In Tagalog, I think there's a word, kilig, which means like excitement, like giddiness, like it's like an emotion. Is there a word that we don't know of then?
Yeah.
Whether it's in Spanish, whether it's in, I don't know, is there a word that you think is this trait that we're trying to put a name to? Because I don't even know what it is. Like you said, is it confidence? Is it speaking abilities? Is it all these things combined? It's obviously not a certain look because every single Miss Universe looks completely different.
Absolutely.
Like I don't even think there's any Miss Universes that look similar to each other.
No, but they all
different.
look like Miss Universe.
I know.
So like,
what is it?
That's crazy.
Help us put a name
yeah.
on what this is.
They check certain boxes, right?
Yes,
like
there's certain
they're
traits.
between this tall and this tall, or they weigh between this much and this much, you know?
They're a certain X size.
Right, but like, I mean,
what about like like there's no particular education, there's no background specifics.
or like a cause that they support.
It's all so different.
Exactly, which makes it awesome.
Yeah, well, and it's the greatest celebration of women.
It is that. Again, let us know
Yeah.
what you guys think, and let us know who you think has it this year,
Yeah.
or whatever that something is.
Yeah, I don't know yet. It's too early for me to say.
It's too early. It's one of those things where hindsight's always 20/20. We talked about this, like last year, Harnez out of Miss India winning last year, you know, looking back, she was Miss Universe, you know,
Yeah.
she like the whole time. So it's easy to see now. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll be sitting here next year and we'll be talking about the same thing. Like, oh, it was always, it was always this country.
If you want to see our top 16 pre-arrival predictions coming next, make sure you hit subscribe so you are notified when that video comes out.